time is it?
It's 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock. Are we up on YouTube? You gonna start it? Where you gonna be?
Well, hey guys, welcome to Real Estate 101. It's Wednesday, it's 1 o'clock, and we're here to give you some good information with the Mr. Weatherman himself.
He's back, guys. Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. It's been a minute since I've been on the show.
It has.
And I think it's been
a little while since I've been on the show.
A little bit since you've been on the show too. Well, we're glad to be back. Sitting in the seat today. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Hump Day.
Hump Day.
Gonna give a shout out today.
I'd like to give a shout out to GTT. He's been this golf instructor around the office, and he hit this outstanding shot yesterday from about 260. How far was it, Tommy? You hit it? Okay, he hit a fantastic shot. But I don't know. I would like to thank all of our admin at our office that we have working: Kendall, Taylor, Van, Larima, Brittany. Melissa, I think's her name.
It definitely takes a full team effort to do all the things that we do here, and not just here in the office, but all the outside events and different things that we do around here. So it definitely takes a big team, and we couldn't do any of it without everybody joining forces. So,
what is our topic today, Ms.
So,
Rabbit?
Our topic today is the dangers of overpricing homes in this market. In any market, but especially in this market, in a normal market.
How do we know what an overpriced house is?
Well,
There we go.
When it sits and sits and sits.
We've also been spoiled because we've never really knew what an overpriced house was for the past year or two.
Yeah, we were actually, as agents, I think we were amazed at the prices that were coming in on some of these homes, on all the homes, really.
Right.
I mean, it was a huge adjustment for sure. But you know, if a home is priced right, it stays on the market less days.
Exactly right.
And usually sells for top dollar.
Exactly
so
right.
even if you are priced, you know, let's just for simple numbers, just say if everything's $350 and maybe you're under that $350.
So let's talk about that. So an example, without giving anybody secrets away, let's just say 8 houses in a neighborhood have sold. They range from $350 to $360, the same houses, and then the next seller comes in, and what usually is the number they want?
The high 360s, 370s.
10 or 15,000 more. And that's, I think, is what you're talking about, strategy about.
Yes.
Back, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, you could do that and get away with it. And not saying that we still don't have a thriving market. It's just when you hit a plateau, or you hit a peak, then you have to gradually ease back down or get back into it. We can't keep going up and expecting us not to be priced out of our pants very quickly.
Right. And when you overprice a home too, you alienate a huge part of the market that could have seen the home if it had been priced right, but because you were 20 or 30 over or more, and it could be 15. You could be 15,000 higher than you should be, and it knocks out a huge number of folks that might have been looking in that price point, but couldn't go any higher than that, So there's lots of dangers in overpricing your home, and I think a huge misconception that sellers have is they say, well, let's just price it here and then we can come down.
You always come down, you can't go up. Well, that's been total opposite.
That is the stupidest thing, but it makes so much sense though to the seller to do that. But to the buyer and the market that's out there, it really is a huge danger because folks can see the value.
Yeah. Well, one thing that people don't understand is whenever you come up with a price on a house, it's our job as agents not to give that price because it's only our opinion. And so how we come up with our opinions is what we call comparables or comps. And so then you start looking up comps to match it. Well, if you ever notice a lot of the prices that people are pricing their houses, there really was no back to that. It was just like, we just feel like we can get it. Now's the time we could do it. And that comes from agents saying, hey, you got to take a chance, because they're going to sell this house and buy this house. So that was a little bit of everybody involved in that one. It wasn't just sellers and buyers. It was agents and family and friends. And I mean, we told our son to sell and buy because it made the perfect sense, you know. And and so now, you know.
Well, and I think too, you know, if you are a listing agent and you're not guiding your, you know, and I always say you're the boss. This is my professional.
Did she say I was the boss?
Yes, she slept.
Okay, I'll go ahead.
But this is my professional opinion and statistically where you should be. And this, let me tell you about this last one we did, kind of thing. But yeah, I think sellers, they don't realize, you know, and sometimes we've dealt with a lot of first-time sellers, and they don't know, you know, they don't know. And a lot of times because the house down the street brought this amount.
Or they work with somebody that's two total different areas. And,
And, you know, it's very important to have a listing agent that's going to be very honest and truthful and upfront with you and tell you, you know, well, I think you're making a mistake because of these reasons. At the end of the day, the market is not going to let us underprice a home anyway. And I love your analogy that you always say, auctions start at zero.
Yes.
They start at $0 and they work themselves up.
I'm not seeing an auction house sell for $1 yet, or $10 or $100.
Right. You've got the people there that are throwing those numbers out, and they're seeing the value in it.
Yes.
Whether it's for, you know, because they have family that live right next door, because it's the house they've looked at this house for 30 years, and if it ever had the chance, they'd buy it. So to those people, the value is there, and they drive that price up. Same way with the homes that are on the market that are existing or whatnot. You get them on the market, you price them too high. End of the day, they're going to sit there.
So what happens when a house? So let's talk about some things. What happens when a house is overpriced? And so right now, because our house has stayed on the market 1 to 5 days, that's really where we were on a couple months ago or 6 months ago. Now these are houses that were actually that could be bought too, not new construction, wouldn't be ready, but houses that were available from $300,000 to $500,000, $600,000. They were on the market anywhere from 1 to 4 days. And that's because it went through the weekend. So what happens now when you have a house on the market and it's been on the market for 14 days? What does that emotion do to that seller? What are they thinking? What's going on in their mindset?
Well, you know, I think like anybody, they would think for one, are my agents working hard enough? Is anybody seeing the house?
Yes.
They start getting nervous. They start getting panicky. They start feeling like a lot of stress.
Should I sell this house?
Yeah, should I sell it? Maybe this is a sign I shouldn't sell it. You know, no, the sign is you priced it too high. That's your number one sign. But it does start causing a lot of different emotions in people, and they, like we like to say around here, they strap in their seatbelt and head to the river.
Yeah. That's very true.
But that's what happens, you know. That is what happens. That's the reality of it. And, you know, the thing of it is that the moment that a new listing comes out on the market, that's when you've got the attention of everybody.
Yes.
Anybody that's out there looking, you've got their attention.
Yes.
And you got one shot. You got one big moment to really make your debut. And if you're not priced correctly, then it's kind of like a balloon that just...
So let's use our average
has a hole in it.
Sales price. Let's just say our average sales price is $400,000, just for equal numbers. So let's say we got a house price at $400,000. So let's just say Noah's got one out there at $400,000. Been on the market 21 days. We have told our sellers, you know, if we don't get done in 14 days, we need to reduce it. Of course, they didn't want to reduce that fast, so we end up 3 weeks later. What is usually that first reduction that sellers want to do?
Oh, the least amount possible.
About $5,000.
5,000.
Yeah. And what should it really be, to be honest, in your opinion?
I mean, realistically, if it's that overpriced, sometimes it's a 10 to 20,000 gap.
And depending on how many showings you got, how many people have called about it, it tells you how far, if it's $10,000 to $30,000.
30, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you this: once you get a number, once you get a house that's priced somewhat close and it's in good shape, it's going to sell because we're still in a great city.
But you know what happens then? That 14 days later, after you knock off 10 to 15,000.
Oh yeah, then it's 21 days on the market.
You've lost interest in those potential buyers. They've dropped off too. You drop the price, your buyers drop too, because they've been looking at it. They saw it. Maybe they saw something else that was more accurately priced that made sense, and they could see the value in it.
So how do we handle this one? So let's say we have a seller that we do the strategy. So let's just say the $400,000 house, let's say we're coming in at $375, and hopefully we get a lot of activity and we run it up. What happens if we get 2 offers and we get $375 offer? What is that telling us about our price?
It tells us that we're about accurately priced.
Yeah, so that $375 would have been our high number.
Right, would have been their highest.
Yep.
So, it makes a lot of sense when you're coming out on the market to go in and price right. Do not compare your home on your street to one that just sold 3 or 4 doors down, because for several reasons. That one could be a little newer.
Yeah, you don't know who the buyer was, what their situation, a lot of things.
It could have an extra bathroom that yours doesn't have, and that makes a huge difference. Maybe it has a potential for an extra bedroom that yours doesn't. So there's a lot of other things in trying to compare your home to a home that's on your street, because it's probably not exactly the same house.
True.
And the value is going to be different.
Yeah, nor is it the same buyer.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
You
right.
never know where the buyer situation, when somebody has to have a house today because their house is sold and don't have anywhere to go, or somebody's moving out of state or in state, you just never know what the situation is. And, when you only have 250 houses on the market, everything is thrown out the window. So to sellers, to agents, to buyers, to lenders, to everybody, they've not had a fair shot in the past couple of years because it's been so unorthodox. And that's not because Murfreesboro was behind the 8 ball. It's because we didn't catch up to how fast the United States caught up to everybody want to be here. I mean, when Murfreesboro goes from a few years back, everybody knowing us for maybe MTSU to being the #1 small city in the nation, I mean, that's when people heard about Austin, Texas, but you didn't know about Austin, Texas 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And
we're really, to be in the business that we're in, and a lot of you guys out there, other agents, we really do live in the land of milk and honey here in Rutherford County.
Man.
We have
Airports, interstates,
such a
schools.
hot little area because it's so thriving, and because of all the businesses and big corporate businesses and smaller business. It's just it's a land of opportunity.
Yeah, tax.
And so I feel very
county.
blessed to live in the place that we live in, because we have, as agents, we have opportunity. So it makes good sense. Do we have any questions in our huge audience?
I do. A while back in the hot market that we were in, I remember specifically where the man said, you cannot underprice a house. Remember saying
Still
that?
true today.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. Is that, can you ever underprice a house
No.
in this market?
No, because so people say, well, what if my house is tore all to pieces? Well, then you overprice your tore all to piece house. So the trick is there's not a house in Rutherford County that is not livable and somebody lives there now, that if you start out $25, you're going to get pretty close to the price it is. Just nobody's going to take that chance, But I promise you, it's not going to take long before everybody's saying, what's wrong with it? Well, I'll make this offer. So, I mean, what do y'all think coming soons are? Coming soon is the same ploy.
Or, how about like even too when they do auctions? Remember how like on MLS we would see the auctions and they would have $100,000 and it would be like a big $800,000 home somewhere on 20 acres or whatever.
Yeah.
But they on the MLS, they put up there $100,000.
Yeah.
And then we get all kinds of phone calls. People are wanting to buy this big, huge 5,000 square foot house for $100,000.
And there's auctions at this time is, I have a feeling they're starting to slow down too, because auctions were beating real estate agents out because they were bringing a lot of money at these auctions. So I have a feeling the auctions are probably creeping down a little bit as well as far as the price point.
Yeah.
But, there's a difference in an absolute auction and a regular auction with the reserve on it. So absolute auctions, you will always see it bring the value, I think, of more than you would have got, and you'll have a lot better turnout because it has to sell that day.
It has to sell. Yeah, absolute means it has to sell.
It has to go.
It's gonna sell. Well, is there anything that you would like to tell our viewers that, maybe some
Oh, I just think that
a
Murfreesboro
good
is
bit of advice if they're getting ready to put their home on the market besides to call me?
1,000%. The best thing you can do is take the very best pictures you can take, have your house looking
Not too high.
no, not a bit, because you had a neighbor across the street and you got a future house coming up.
Yeah, but we just talked about those.
The river.
So the thing about anything in sales, anything you do is 2 years ago or 6 months ago, everything we did 2 months ago, you throw out the window.
Yeah.
Other than taking a few things from you learned and using the next season, this time, if you have a listing, you have to be better than everybody. So what can you do to be better than everybody? How can we market it better than everybody? How can we make your house be presented? How can we price it better? And so once you start doing that, then next thing you know, you start creating a buzz about your house, where we've been so used to not having to do a lot because
Well, we didn't even have the opportunity.
didn't have time to do
I
it.
mean, a lot of times we didn't even have opportunities to get in and get professional pictures
Yeah.
done to where we already had
if
somebody.
you had a 350 house 6 months ago when the iBuyers were booming, you had 6 offers before you ever went live.
Yeah,
I mean, and they just come to your email. It was that crazy.
yeah. I think the number that Tommy said was 266.
He hit a drive. He hit a shot from 266 out. It wasn't a drive, but it should have been on
What
tour.
did he use?
I thought a 4 or 5 iron. I don't know, but it went far.
Wow.
It was in the wind. I mean, it's crazy.
Best shot ever.
It's unbelievable. He'll tell you.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Well, do we have anything else that we want to add to this?
I just like to go back and see that shot one more time.
Well, guys, if you are thinking of putting your home on the market, definitely talk to a professional, preferably us.
Yes.
Or
and knowing that the market has shifted, and that when the shift means it's not this. It just means it just took a little bump. You just got to figure out what do we need to do in the little shift to stay positive and stay creative with our market.
yes,
You know.
I think as everything changes, you have to change with it.
Yes.
If it goes this way, you have to go this way. So I think as agents, we always have to be ready to go with the flow
Yes.
and change up things. Stay a little bit out of the box of what everybody else is doing. Keep yourself original.
I can't tell you who it is or who owns it, but we were trying to get this piece of property for years and years. Not us, but some people we're working with. And one of the big boys from the big builders bought it. And just to let you know that our market is still thriving, they just wrote a contract for $72,000 an acre for some land, which is out of this world. I mean, it's just so, for anybody to think that this little bump is a drop, the big guys that are moving here that are all over the nation building, it's not phased them one bit. So there's no reason it should phase anybody in this market.
That's right. And there's today is a great day to list a home. Get it on the market. Don't be sitting thinking, having second thoughts, worrying about all these other things, because homes are selling. People are buying, regardless of what you're hearing.
They're just looking a little bit more now.
There's more things to look at.
Not many, but there are more.
There is more. There's a little more than there used to be.
Josh, how many houses on the market today?
841.
841. Now that's with about a little over under half new construction, which is for
Do you happen to know how many of those are new construction?
Yeah, it's like 400, and it literally
So
right at half.
800 roughly homes, half of those are new construction.
pretty close to it. And so several months ago there were 0 new construction.
Right.
0, because if they weren't already pre-sales, they couldn't have the time to get any more pre-sales, and they were waiting. So now we're down to we got some stuff to look at.
That's right. That's right.
So
Folks
your
have-
stuff just needs to be better than their stuff.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
That's all it is.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today for Real Estate 101. We had a good time today.
Yes.
Great topic. And hope to see you guys next week, same time, same place for Real Estate 101.
See you soon.
See you soon.